Hi friends, it's Dr. Sarah Sue Myers from Journey Home Healing. Today is March 30th, 2020, and I am filming in Bellingham, Washington. And Washington State has now had a shelter-in-place policy for almost a week now during the 2020 COVID-19 pandemic. And I wanted to make this video to share a couple self-care tips. Self-care tips that are geared towards helping overall support and strengthen our immune system. And I wanted to share with you my next upcoming live online class that I will be offering 2 different times on 2 different days and also 2 different time frames. And I am open to requests of topics because I do plan and intend to do this on a more regular basis. So if there are any topics you're interested in learning about or hearing about, please share them with me. And also if there's any time frames where you find having a live online class would be of benefit to you and not feel too full or overscheduled. Which actually brings me to my self-care tip number 1. We are in this interesting time of life at home a lot more than we have ever probably experienced, some of us. Some of us, it's actually not that different because some of us work from home, or our work at home is raising our children. And so we're like, yep, we were doing it anyways. And I can tell you one thing, as being in 2 of those categories, is that I find that I can create a lot of my own personal self-induced stress simply by trying to overschedule a day for me. Or trying to be too motivated with the day can add a lot of extra pressure and internal shoulds and internal expectations on myself and how the day should go and should play out. And then when that doesn't happen, it's really hard to deal with the repercussions of it. There's this really great definition of stress that I heard that I keep sharing with people because it's just so simple. Stress is when something is happening that we do not want to be happening, simply put. And when I hear that, what I think about is expectations and attachment, and as well as the practice of mindfulness, that when we are able to encounter something that we are not wanting, how can we approach it in a way of acceptance and simply just being present? And how can we mitigate those sort of scenarios by simply lightening up the load of the shoulds and the expectations that we are burdening and putting on ourselves right now? This is not a time for perfection. This is a time for good enough. And I think it's, I just want to invite all of you guys to think about that and consider it when you're planning and putting intentions into your days. Are you being gentle with yourself with it? Because that stress will impact many systems in the body, including the immune system. Self-care tip number 2, eat your vegetables. And more specifically, I want to share why eating your vegetables would be so immune supportive. So first of all, eating our vegetables is very good for our gut and our digestive tract. And why is gut health so important? Why am I not talking about the immune system? Because gut health is so interconnected with the immune system as well as the brain and the rest of our nervous system, that if the gut is suffering, it has underlying inflammation, it has damage, there's underlying food allergies, maybe there's too much sugar and processed foods coming in, and that's damaging to the digestive gut lining. That will have a downstream impact on health overall, as well as how well our body functions in all these other systems, including immune response. And that leads me to the topic of my next class that's coming up, which is going to be more specifically about gut health, what constitutes gut health, why it's important, and some therapeutic actions and steps you can take right now at home to help improve your gut health. And so there's going to be a conversation part of it. We'll start with a check-in, bringing in any questions specifically that you have. And then we are going to go into a fermentation demonstration of lacto-fermented vegetables, more specifically. And I'm going to be streaming this live class in my Zoom room from the Eagle's Nest, which is the nickname for our studio apartment home that we are living in Bellingham. So it's going to be pretty interesting and fun, and something I haven't done yet. Although I have been doing a ton of fermenting for well over a month now and really learning and fine-tuning the art of it. And I'm just really excited to share it with you all as one way to not only support and help our gut health, but it's a great activity to do with our family. It's a great activity to channel any anxious, chaotic, I feel out of control, I feel like nothing's certain sort of moments. When we start feeling that way, I know when I do at least, I ask myself, how can I channel this into something productive? And the first place I often go, well, is either my yoga mat, if that's feasible, which is not always feasible, or I go to the kitchen. Much like how the painter turns to their canvas and their paints, I like to turn to my kitchen. And if I'm able to channel my energy into something that's going to feed and nourish and heal us, I feel like it's alchemy, and that chaos and that anxiety gets transformed into something good and therapeutic. And I want to share that with you all. So please consider joining me. And again, if you have any requests or feedback for me, please share. I would love to hear. And don't forget to pause during the day and allow presence and gentleness for you as well as your loved ones. Take care.